Who's the baddest shark around? Who's the smartest shark in town? Sky-Byte, that's me! Who'll turn this channel around and never let his good friend down? It's Sky-Byte, that's me! Ugh. This is why your viewing numbers are in the toilet. I'm out.
I think at this point, I've made it clear that I love the 2001 Robots in Disguise line. But I have a confession. I have never owned a Sky-Byte figure. I honestly don't know why that is. Back in the day, I just never got around to buying him. And over the years, they've released new incarnations of him, but they were either not possible for me to get at the time, or didn't quite look right to me. Sky-Byte is one of those characters and designs that I probably have a subconscious, unreasonably high expectation for, and just never felt like any of the previous releases did him justice. But I have swallowed my pride, righted a wrong, and now have my first Sky-Byte to represent this beloved character. Let's check him out.
Hello. It has been brought to my attention that it is not appropriate to threaten you sweaty, disgusting flesh bags into supporting the channel. Scourge, you can't insult them either. Well, what am I supposed to do then? Just ask them nicely for their support. It's not hard. Ugh. Fine. Hello, humans. If you like this content, please support it. And I promise to not destroy you. Scourge!
Right off the bat, this Sky-Byte is a visual treat of color and detail. In his shark mode, you can just get lost in the lovingly sculpted rivets, pipes, exposed bits. It's just a feast for the eyes when it comes to how he looks. I especially love the way they molded sections of his body to look like his armor had been torn off, exposing the robot beneath. This all harkens back to the original Beast Wars Cybershark toy, and I dig it. His colors are spot on to Sky-Byte, with perfect shades of blue, white, and yellow, and they absolutely were not stingy with the paint apps. Lots of silver and gunmetal gray highlight key areas to bring it all together into an absolutely gorgeous alt mode. But Sky-Byte isn't just a visual treat in his shark form. No, he's actually got some cool features. See, I often gripe about beast modes not having enough posability. For a transformer that turns into a car, I expect the wheels to roll. For a helicopter, I want the blades to spin. For beasts, I really want them to be able to pose dynamically like an animal should. But that's not always possible, which can be surprising for a four-legged furry figure, but actually understandable when your alt mode is basically a long cylinder with fins. Which is why it's so delightfully surprising that Sky-Byte can actually pose quite a bit in his alt mode. Not only does his mouth open for some jawsome bite action, but even his tail can swing back and forth. The front fins can also rotate. I would have preferred these to be on ball joints, but considering how they came packaged separately on a sprue, I do understand the design choice. But best of all, the design team made it so his shark head can actually move. This is insanely cool, completely unexpected, and just adds so much to bring the alt mode to life. They also sculpted some neat mechanical details that only get revealed when you lower the head. I love when they do stuff like this. It brings a wonderful level of dynamic posing to an alt mode that they just didn't have to do, but I'm so glad they did. For armaments in this mode, Sky-Byte has his thrashing tail that can also deploy his signature shark spike, as well as spin for that extra dose of bladed lethality. There's the biting jaw, but also his shark missile launcher. This is such a silly thing to gush about, as it's basically just a chunk of plastic. But again, so well thought out by the design team, because it can be stored away in his upper jaw when not in use, or clipped into his lower jaw when you want to have him posed in a firing position. I would have liked it more if this was deployable from the upper jaw, as it's a bit of a pain to get out, but it's still nice that the feature is there, and this simplified version does still work for the visual. Transforming Sky-Byte is an interesting affair. It's definitely easier to go from beast to bot rather than the other way around, as the panels can be a bit of a pain to line up. But the design team really did an amazing job coming up with ways to unfold and reshape the limbs from the compact shark mode to form a nearly perfect representation of Robots in Disguise Sky-Byte. I like the look of this robot mode a lot. I always have. Sky-Byte just has a style to him that you don't see that often anymore. The amazing bladed head fin acts like a crown that works so well with the distinct face sculpt. Then there's all the asymmetrical details across his body, the mismatched pectorals, how the shins have different numbers of spikes on them. I'm still discovering new little details on this guy, even as I write this review. It's such a beautiful design overall. I would have liked to have seen a Predacon symbol on him somewhere, but that's just my preference. Sky-Byte has decent posability across the board, posing in all the ways I could want from him. But this is where I get into a complaint about the figure. At least on my copy, his tolerances are a little out of whack. Like how his knee joints are so tight that often when I go to bend them, the transformation hinge in the shins pops out instead. Or the way the shoulders don't quite lock in all the way, so when you rotate them, the arms will pop free. These are all pretty minor and may resolve with time and use though. But my biggest issue is the shoulder panels. While I praise them in beast mode because they are beautifully detailed, they are also absolutely massive in robot mode, and actually brought about another tolerance issue for me. The panels attach to a peg above the shoulders, and on one side this peg is very loose, which causes the panel to flop down if it's not supported by the arm. The panel is removable, but that compromises the look, and it becomes frustrating when you pose the figure with it on. Since the piece is pinned on, I can't think of a way to fix it. Overall, it's not the end of the world, as I can still pose Sky-Byte in a lot of fun ways, as long as the arm is supporting the panel though. Despite all that, I really like Sky-Byte. His beast mode is definitely the highlight for me, as I expected it to be. But he's a really fun visual treat of a figure overall. It's nice to finally see some love for the already Predacons, and I hope this is an indication we might see Slapper, Gasskunk, and Darkscream down the line.
Okay, I can't be the only one that thinks the scale is bullshit on these figures. Fear not, brave viewers, for Skylinks is here to remind you to hit the subscribe button. And remember, if Skylinks thinks it's a good idea, then you really can't go wrong.